Orale, gonna make the profiles boom, boom, boom. I said boom, boom, boom. It's what it is. What's good with it in the hood with it, gente? As you can already tell by that thumbnail, see those two mascaras right there, those two vatos, those bad brothers right there, man. You don't want to be caught in a dark alley or on Bobby Street and Winton around those individuals, because I'm going to tell you right now, Pensa la tira. It's about to go down. Now, Atwater, Atown, you know, I wanted to kind of profile the city. I know I've talked about it in the past. They were the enemigos, man, of Merced, dead end, righteously, barrio. They were the ones that posed the most potential threat to what we had going on. You know, I like to give respect where respect is due, because that's the type of individual I am. Now looking in retrospect and reflecting back to my past and a lot of the stuff I was into, a lot of the, you know, turmoil that I found myself involved in, a lot of it surrounded the city of Atwater, Atown, like they call it. I was around for the establishment. You know, I was around before there were Southsiders in Atown, man, when it was just on insane, when it was Crips and Sangres and whatever else was, you know, going on in the city of Atwater. Now, Atwater has always been a smaller city. It's grown over the years. It's expanded, and a lot more gente have moved into the area. You know, and Atown has established their roots as a southern city up north. You know, when we talk about upstate Sureños, upstate Southsiders, and I know a lot of people get the game twisted when it comes to the gun and say, oh, you don't give them the respect that's due. Hey, I give them all the respect that's due, but at the same time, I'm not going to go ahead and boast and brag and put cherries on top and do all that, because that ain't the type of individual I am. See, the type of man that I am, I'm going to keep it real, uncut and raw. No added preservatives. Guard! I said, no added preservatives, puto. Right? I don't do it like that. You know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it to you in a menudo style. What does that mean? Hard, homes. You're going to be crudo in the morning and efficiently in that stilo. And that's just what it is, indubitably. Now, trip out. I've told a lot of stories about the city of Atwater. You know, it seems like when I got out of YA, these were the vatos that were popping. These were the vatos that were doing the most, or the vatos that we were able to get at, and they were able to get at us. Now, I have nothing bad to say when it comes to the city of Atwater. Of course, there's individuals from there that I will never like, right? Because either they did bad things to me or said bad things about me. But at the end of the day, you don't hold a grudge. You just never forget. I said, and I never will. But let me tell you something about Atown. When they first established, I thought it was a fad. I didn't think it was going to be anything that really stuck, because they're a city that's surrounded by norteños. Norteños being in Merced, the whole Merced County area. And of course, on the other side, Livas, Livingston, Turlock, Modesto, and it just keeps going on and on down the 99. Orale, 209 shit. But it just keeps going on. So you would think it would be hard for a group to establish that has enemies all around. Like Fresno did it. You know, I don't know. But other cities are able to do that. And Atwater being as small as it was, I didn't think it. But the guys, it's not about the size. It's not about the whale in the ocean. It's about that motion. Con ocean, orale. And the winner is, right? Menudo. Trip out. These vatos that started and established this, my primo being one of them and several other individuals, these guys were hard as rocks, homes. When I mean hard as rocks, imagine the turmoil, the persecution, oppression they had to go through. Because they never hid it. One thing is, the reason I respect Atown so much as I do right now is they never hid their agenda or what they proclaimed to be their ganga, or what they claimed, homes. They represented Southside to the fullest. Now, I never considered them upstaters, and I know they are, and hey, righteously so. But I never considered them that. I just considered them Atown Sur, because that's what they claimed, homes. Now, I know they're the most established southern city up north. You say, well, how can it be a southern city? What degree of southern city are we talking about? You got up north, and now there's a southern city up north? Absolutely. Indubitably. Two brothers moved from Long Beach. Toma. They put that flag right there, and it waved, right? And I remember we were trying to tear that flag down. You know, I was one of the more influential homeboys in my neighborhood that always was like, let's get them bottles, right? And that's because, not because I hated on the sur or I hated on the south or the stilo, because I've always had my own stilo. I'm going to rock how I rock. It was more so because I knew that they posed a threat to what we had going on, and they hated us more than we actually hated them. That's absolutely facts. Now, having family from Atown, I absolutely knew the inner workings. I knew who was who, what was what, where they stood, where they partied, where they kicked it. But I never overstepped that boundary. See, familia to me means more than everything. Sangre is thicker than water. So knowing that my primos were going to be in that exact household, even though I knew all the shot cars, all the heavy hitters were right there. And when any time we can, un pinche grenade, vámonos, right? You know, the big Lebowski's. Boom! It'd be like, get behind me, Atwater, get behind me. It would have all been good. And even the woods there, brother, would have sprinkled it in. I mean, it would have just been great, but my family was there. You know, it's hard when you come from a Northern California family that has a little bit of everything in it. You know, it's like, let's get them, but hey, Chucky, get up, let's go. And then you remember your primo spiders over there getting down, eh? So you can't really do that unless you're a merciless, heartless individual. And at that point in time, I wasn't that heartless. Different now, a little bit. But back then, I wasn't, right? I was more so, and family meant more to me than anything. It's all we have at the end of the day. And just remember that. Never forget that. But there was a lot of situations where I found myself upset with the city of Atwater just based on, these are the vatos that scraped the 14 off my eye. These are the vatos that left me with a whole bunch of lumps in my head that I just cannot explain. These are a whole bunch of vatos. The reason why I have to go get fingers stuck in my butt all the time to get a, what is that called? You know what I mean? I don't know what it is, right? But the doctor has to check for the colon. Because vatos that ruptured my whole everything. You know what I mean? Hitting me with bats and todo. These vatos messed me up, ese. So I was scared. I don't even like to go to the doctor. But it's what men do. Especially when you get older, you got to go get checked. Pensa. You know what I mean? If you don't like it, you don't like it. Orale, it's better than a pedazo, huh? Anyways, now trip out. Or is it? Strike that, reverse it. One never knows does one. But all I know is trip out on this. I'll never be the same because of the city of Atwater. They've done horrible things to me. I did horrible things to them. Right? And that's just what it was. They were on my enemy list. That's it. And guess what? Leave them right there. I said, because I'm on them. Okay? That's how it was back then. Now it's all respects. I talked to a lot of authors from Atown and I respect their audio. Now, for those of you that have slept on the city of Atown, Atwater, you know, get your lentes cleaned, homes. Put them little windshield wipers on. Pensa la tira, because I'm telling you, they got 3 things going on in Atwater. They got Bomb Panda Express. They got a gang of Southsiders, real ones too. And they got a few tortas. I just smashed every torta in that town. I guarantee you right now, if you're Surounded sitting on the couch with your fat chick, I boned her. Now look, you know, don't get mad and say it's just what it was. Now trip out on this. Damn, I'm a dirt dog, huh? Dirt dog, no lie. And I ain't lying. That's real. You know what I mean? They knew me in Atown. I was going to freak with that thing. I was trying to wiggle up and everything moving. Now, look at, trip out on this. Atwater, I think, got their kudos when they first got seen as a potentially dangerous city when they did Operation Scrapbook a few years back. Now, for those of you that don't know, it was a Fed case, man. It hit the airwaves. It was big in the Central Valle. They actually, you know, got taken down, man. Several individuals were arrested. And a lot of things happened. You know, I don't want to get into the details. You could Google it and find out about it. And the wordplay was a cold cat. But one thing I want to say about this was they don't just do that to voters that ain't making noise, to voters that ain't established. And I can tell you stories. I'm going to tell you one. There's a street in Atwater. It's between Atwater and Winton. It's called Bobby Street. Now, I don't even want to talk about that. That's a dangerous street, or it was back in my days, right? We knew that was a stronghold street for the Southsiders. So we tried to creep over there at night and let shot. We never got past the 3rd house, right? Because them autos were different with automatic things, allegedly, right? I remember one day I had a homegirl, and she told me and my homeboy from Levi's, she was like, hey, I'm moving. My pad's over here on Bobby Street. Can you help me? I said, well, hold on now. Junta. I told the homeboy, okay, look at it. So this is how it's going to work. I'm going to wait in the car down the street. You're going to move the washer and dryer and walk. And then we're going to put it in the back of the truck. We're going to bounce because them autos are different, right? It all worked out like this. We ended up going to Bobby Street to her pad. You know, she had no one, so we had to help her, man. I ain't going to lie. I was on awareness furls. My antennas were doing this. You know what I mean? They were doing they whipped my hair back and forth. They whipped their hair back and forth. Because I'm telling you, if you didn't know in the late 90s, man, 97, 96, I'm telling you, Bobby Street was dangerous. There's vatos that are going to get in the comments like, show was, show is, right? It just was one of those streets that they had so locked down and locked in. You know, once you're in, you're not getting out. And it was ugly. So I remember we're in about the middle of Bobby Street. They have all these duplexes houses with these big carports. And I remember we're carrying this washer and dryer, and some vato comes up, bald, all blasted back, big old LA on the side of his face. He's like, hey, that's where you vatos from. I said, Norte, homie, what's happening, right? He said, what? I said, I never, hell no, right? You ever seen that movie, American Me? Remember when he goes, Hacha controlamos todo, right? Get out of here, pinche piwi chavala. Okay, well, the vato didn't get out of there. The vato stood his ground, whistled, a whole bunch of vatos came out with all kinds of things. Hey, let me tell you, if I didn't have that washer, I wouldn't be here today. Because I was walking down the street, me and the homeboy with a washer, trying to get somewhere, right? It was ugly. We left his truck, he thought I ran. But I'm not going to keep it real. I didn't have nothing on me. You know, I don't know what I was thinking. That's just the way it was in Atwater. The city of Atwater went on. I consider them the same. They all, you know, I know they're different volumes, but they correlate with each other. Now, having known a lot of autos in Atwater, there were several instances where I told you they caught me slipping and did bad things, but at the same time, have even backed my play one time or two. You know, just based on I knew who my familia was at that time, and it just worked out that way. Anyways, Fast forward to Operation Scrapbook. Now the feds and the cops and everyone starts seeing Atwater for the entity that they always were, was not a destructive body or gang or organization, but a group that held their own and was to be well respected. Now, I know when you think upstate Sureños, you think places like Watson or Sajo or any other little city, you know, Richmond, Vallejo. Of course, you think Santa Cruz being one of the more established areas. But to me, and not because it's in the 209 or the Merced County, Atwater has always been on the first and forefront. They've always been the ones that have held it down. Now, I know there are norteños in the city of Atwater. Don't get it messed up. It's already Northside Atwater. I said mine. But at the same time, I'm telling you right now, that wasn't so 20 years ago. Them vatos had it on lock. You know, I used to be at my tia's house, and she lived in Atown and right off Bellevue. And I used to be, you know, in certain areas in Atwater Wiggling. You know, I lived there a couple times, you know. I lived Determined Street, which you guys know about that. Yeah, I was on Determined. I sure was. I was determined to get up out of there, too. But that's where I lived for a little while in them apartments. And there was a lot of gangbanging going on. It was like mini LA, man. It was definitely, if you came out your apartment, you better be ready. You better have it on you. You got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Spell ready 3 times. I said it in the other spiel today. Real talk. Ready is a word, you know, that you really need to be prepared with. Anyways, in the menu, the style vatos would get at you any old type of way, and then you would have to get back at them in a certain way. That's the city of Atwater. That's the precedent they set. But it didn't get established by poop butts, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. There's been so many gangs, especially in the Central Valley, that you see them one day, they're gone the next. You know, there's hoods and tagging crews and whatever the case may be that just spring up out of nowhere and say, see, watch out, look at it. The vatos all took off running. They're gone. They seen the big people and they say, oh no, hell no, right? You know, they were gone. But then there's people that come from different states, different cities that establish in areas, and the vatos, you just can't tear them down no matter what you try to do. They're with the business. Now, when these brothers moved from Long Beach, they were with that business. You know, my primo is with the business. You know, he's a family man now, does his thing, but they always know they can call on cabron, and he'll always show up. Now, me having the inside intelligence on him and knowing what was up, my homeboys used to always get at me. Because, you know, every time something happened, we blame vatos from Atwater. But here's the cool part. It never really was. It usually was little hoods like Pocos Pero Locos or Southside Locos or whatever used to establish in Merced that were about their business, but there wasn't very many of them, so you didn't really know who was what and what was who, right? It just happened. But automatically Atwater got pinpointed. It was an vato from Atown. It's like, no, it was. I just knew it was. I just knew it was, right? And we'd go over there and they'd tell me, hey, you know what house they're in. Let me know. And I would. They'd be over here, on Soul Gang, right, doing their thing. And I'll tell them, well, I think it's at the fat chicks out. They'll go over there. You know what I mean? First of all, I'm trying to first and foremost smash her. The second thing is, you know, I'm trying to take them away from, you know, further bloodshed. Now, I understand when you're gangbanging, it wasn't because I was scared or because I wasn't with the business. Because if I literally knew one of these vatos did something bad to me, then we're going to do something bad, horrible to him, 10 times 10. I say that 3 times fast. Now, get behind me, Atwater, when I say that there were plenty of times they did bad things to me. And then the shoe was on a different foot. Now, I've told you guys the story about me getting beat with the bat and scraped on my eye. The day Tupac got shot, I got handled, right? And it was bad. It was a bad situation. But what goes around comes around. The vato that actually sparked all that and that did all that, you know, he don't walk no more, man. And it's unfortunate that it works out that way, but that's just the way it works out. And I'm not saying because due to that, I didn't do nothing. Don't get a case against me. It was a whole different circumstance. But I'm saying it's called karma. And, you know, sometimes when you bring bad energy into the world, bad energy falls back on you. You know, it's an ugly situation. A north-south thing is ugly at any point in time to me because I believe we're all brown and we're all established in the same places anywhere. Let's just get it. That's it. Let's just get it. And eventually over time and the way that this course in this world is working, I think that will happen one day. But until then, my friends, just understand that cities like Atwater, located in the Central Valley and the 209, they're with the business. Okay, they wouldn't be around and established, you know, if they weren't. Now, there's a lot of heavy hitters that come out of Atwater, allegedly. You know, I don't want to get anyone in trouble, so I'm not going to say any names, but I will say this. The guys that you see right there on the thumbnail definitely were pinpointed or looked at, you know, as some heavy hitters out of Atwater. Now, I'm going to say, are they or they're not? I can't say that. One thing I can say, though, is they definitely were looked at a certain way. When Operation Scrapbook took place, they took a lot of vatos down from the barrio. They tried to cut the heads off the snakes. They tried to eradicate, you know, the Southsiders from the city of Atwater. And I don't think that's ever going to be the case. That city, the culture is ingrained in a certain type of canalismo that only they have. Like I said, I've been there many a times. I lived in Merced 5 minutes away. So to go to the city of, I got a baby mother that lives in the city of Atwater. So back then, you know, we used to wiggle out there. And it was always a dangerous area, but it was an area that we knew deep down inside. I mean, I knew how to wiggle, but the wigglization was real. So I can cut down this street, be undetermined, hit a couple blacks. So I was getting, next, you know, I'm on Old Santa Fe and I'm running down the freeway. Boom, I'm out of there, buddy. You know what I mean? You know, I'm not trying to make myself sound like a pool butt or like I'm a runner or anything. There's about this like, I knew you always knew you were a runner, gunner. Nah, I'm just not going to tell you everything, you know, I like freedom and that's just what it is. And I'm going to continue to do that. But the city of Atwater is to be respected. You know, as far as Upstate Southsiders go, they are the very, very first established Upstate Southsiders stronghold. That's a fact, Holmes. You know, a lot of people try to argue the point with me. Oh, no, listen, Vato. They've been doing this since the late 80s, homie. 89, 90. Orderly colors. They've been doing that. You know, I was right there in the mix. You know, a lot of the Vatos that I don't fought with, same people I broke bread with at my abuelitas, and I told you guys time and time again, at my abuelita's house, it was kind of like a hub for gang members that we all went there from every side and ate menudo. But at the same time, if you walk past the gate, past the hedges, yes, Woods, even you. If you walk past the hedges, brother, you're going to get it. You know what I mean? In a 357 fashion, allegedly. It just was an ugly game that was being played, but it was a game played well. Anyways, I just wanted to do this quick video. Shout outs, respects to the city of Atwater. You know, Vatos wanted me to talk about how they function in the county jail. And, you know, having experienced, you know, we got 2 county jails in Merced. We got downtown and we got Sandy Mush, which is the farm. Every time, I don't know how it is now. I haven't been there so long, you know, locked up, incarcerated in the county jail. But I know back then they kept all the Southsiders separated. So all of us from Atown would be in a bubble. They called it the bubble. And that's just how they kept them. Most of them were downtown, though, the majority of them. And they were on one block and they were behind glass. And it wasn't because they were trying to help them out. It's because about to be getting speared and all that. It was just an ugly situation. But that's the way they rocked. You know, I see they conducted themselves kind of just like the Northerners did. Very militant, very structured, man, just doing their thing. But that was their own business. You know, I'm not going to sit here and speak Southside business. I don't know. I don't understand their get down because I never had to go through that. You know, I was doing it in a Northern fashion. Down 1, down 2. Aztec burpees y todo on mine. What you know about those? Those are different. Those hit different. That's it. Huelga y todo, chain breakers. Remember those? Sas. You know, I got to get back my rutina, my máquina, because it's bad right now. Anyways, with that being said, gente, shout out to the city of Atwater, a very established stronghold in Northern California. Now, a lot of people that tell me, hey, you know what? You know, that's right. That's we were able to establish in Northern California. Yeah, that's right. They were. And kudos and respects to them. But at the end of the day, don't sleep on the norteños in that area, bro. Because ain't nothing scarier than seeing a huelga bird walking down the street with a pit bull terrier. I'm telling you, orale, huelgas up, they're different too. Everybody's to be respected because we're all brown, we're all warriors, we all got it inside of us. It's instilled. And then if you educate that mind, pobre, see, it's just a little bit different. They're going to have your head up your culo faster than a rabbit gets. Oh, hell not. You already know what it is. So with that being said, gente, shout out to Atwater, shout out to Atown. The establishment was real. They continue to further their struggle. They continue to do what they do. They continue to grow. And it's not because people are sleeping on them. It's because they're about that business. With that being said, handle it yourself. Get out there. Stop being lazy. Roll up your mattress. Get out there and toil in that soil for which you come from to make something happen for your familia. If you like this, hit that like and subscribe. Wait up. Let me see you, Roja. Oh, hell yeah. Right? Make sure that you hit me with that like and subscribe. If you like this, there's a notification button right there. If you touch it, lick it, pet it, stick it, hit it, quit it. I don't care whatever you have to do. Let's get going on chia pet. Chia. Do whatever you got to do. Just touch it one time for your boy so that you get every notification of all the videos that I put out 7 days a week because I'm going to continue to do that because that won't stop. And if you don't like me, and a lot of you don't, hit me with that thumbs down and say, heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. And I'm going to continue to strive and struggle for what I honestly, truly believe in. And that's the betterment of all people, us coming together. Shout out to all the cities, man, that make things happen. I'd like to speak with on Atwater because Atwater is slept on, but they deserve theirs. Respects the gun. 209.